Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a review on 2 out of the 3 Hollywood Flawless eye filters from Charlotte Tilbury. She's come out with 3 new quads. They just got released and I'm going to be telling you guys about 2 of them today. I have the Diva Lights Palette and the Star Aura Palette right over here, and I cannot wait to tell you guys what I think about both of these in this video. I'm going to be creating one look with each palette. We're going to be doing swatches, and at the end, of course, I'll be telling you what I think about this new release and whether or not I think it's worth it. If you're new to my channel, my name is Patty. Welcome, and I hope that you're here to stay, so please don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave. Also, if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up as well. That helps my video get promoted here on the YouTube world. And that is it. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. When I first saw these quads, I thought they looked pretty different from the rest of the quads Charlotte's released in the past. None of them have any matte shades. Every single shade in these palettes has kind of a shimmer to them. I believe the palettes are inspired by Hollywood Lights, and so she put shiny shimmers on everything in here. The palettes are meant to be used the same way that other Charlotte palettes are, so you do prime, enhance, smoke, and define for these. When you see a glittery shade right here in this spot, then it's prime, enhance, smoke, and pop. So you either get a pop shade or a define shade on the 4th eyeshadow. And for both of these, we got define shades. First, let's talk about the Star Aura palette. So when I first saw this one, I was like, that looks like a bunch of little pops of color for me. Like every single one of the eyeshadows in here to me, it looks like it could be an eyeshadow that you put on the eyelid that has a nice shimmer to it, and it's kind of like the center of attention of a look, but they're meant to be used together. The other thing I thought was that this kind of looks like that Soleil Niche, I think it is, Tom Ford quad that launched this year for the holidays. That one I feel like has a similar vibe. I'm not saying that the shades are going to be like dupes of each other or anything, because I actually don't think that to be the case, but I feel like it has that type of vibe where you just get 4 shades that have these like light to them. Let me go ahead and swatch this one for you. Okay, so here are all 4 shades swatched in the back of my hand. I'm showing you from far away so you can kind of see it at the same level of light that you see my face. Let me lower the light now and show you a little bit closer up. Okay, so here they are. As you can see, the first shade has a little bit of extra sparkle to it, but every single shade in here is pretty shiny, and once we get into the eye look, you'll see how those perform on the eyes. Then I also have the Diva Lights palette, and this one has a little bit more diversity to it, I would say. Like, it definitely has a color that is pretty dark as your defined shade. This is the one that I'm currently wearing. I will show you guys how I did this eye look once we get there. And when I first saw this color right here, it looked like it had a teal type of undertone, but it actually doesn't. It's just like a pretty smoky color. It might have a little bit of a blue base to it, but it pretty much looks almost like a gray or a black shade once you put it on. Let me go ahead and show you the swatches of this one. So once again, this is what this one looks like from a little bit further away. I remember reading somewhere, by the way, that these are actually all new formulas for eyeshadow for Charlotte. So that's sometimes a little bit tricky, because I feel like when you change something that we know, it could be a total hit, or we might all just kind of hate it. Once again, I have my light down, and these are the swatches up close of the Diva Lights palette. As you can see, the first color really nice and shiny, and then this color right down here is barely shiny, but it's not a matte shade. It's kind of like a blackish gray satin color. These, by the way, haven't been released yet everywhere, but I'll go ahead and link down below the places where they are currently available so that you guys can find them there. So I'll probably have a few different stores listed in the future once they become available everywhere. And with that said, let's go ahead and get started with the first eye look I did. The first eye look I did was using the Star Aura palette, which is this one right over here, the lighter one of the 2. So let's get into that tutorial. So of course, the first color I'm going to grab is this one right here, which is the color Prime, and I'm going to start by sweeping it across my eyelid. back and forth, and I'm using my reference number 15 brush for this. And as you can see, it has the most beautifully sparkly goodness to it. I just love colors that have a sheer shimmery sparkle. With the same brush, I'm going to go into the second color right here, which is Enhance. And with that color Enhance, we are going to tackle the crease of the eye. This is the way that these palettes are meant to be used. You do prime, enhance, smoke, and either pop, or in this case, define. We are on the enhance step, and I'm just back and forth blending that color on the crease and up until the brow bone, just leaving a little space under the brow. Okay, so these are the first two colors. I'm now switching to my reference number 1 brush, and I'm getting the color Smoke. And I'm going to start by tapping it right here on this outer corner and start blending it into the crease. And as you can see, this one just is kind of giving everything real nice definition. And I'm blending it upwards a little bit right here, just back and forth with my reference number 1 brush. Everything about this look is pretty sparkly, so I feel like you have to not be afraid of sparkle to love this palette. Back with the color Prime, I'm just going to tap it a little bit with my finger right here on my eyelid. And lastly, I'm grabbing the color Define with my reference number 13. And this one is a pretty tiny blending brush, so I'm just going to intensify things on the lash line area and make them a little bit darker with it. And I'm just back and forth sweeping that color across. By the way, I did get a teeny tiny bit of fallout right here with these shades. Let's go ahead and clean underneath. Alright, here we go. This is the top of the look with the Star Aura palette right here. I'm going to do some makeup around my face, and I'll be right back to finish this one up. I'm back with some makeup on, and the first color I'm going to use is the color Define, which is the 4th shade, and I'm using it with my reference number 13 brush, and I'm just going to back and forth sweep that shade all across my under eye. So just back and forth sweeping it with my reference number 13. Now I'm switching to my reference number 1 brush, and I have the color Enhance on it, which is the 2nd shade we use. And with that color, I'm going to smoke everything out. Again, just sweeping back and forth with my reference number 1. With my pinky finger, I grab the color Prime, and I'm going to use it as my inner corner highlighter. Alright, I just went ahead and lined my waterline with a dark brown eyeliner. Let me go ahead and put on some mascara and show you the final look. I'm back, and this is the look with the Star Aura palette fully done. Obviously very glowy all over, which has to be taken into consideration when you decide whether or not to purchase it. If you guys are a fan of matte eyeshadows on the crease, this might not be the palette for you. Regardless, I think the look came out very pretty, and it is a very classy look for daily wear. Now let's move on to the other palette. To get started with the Diva Lights palette, I'm going to get my Bedroom Black eyeliner, and I'm going to line the waterline of my eye with it. I'm also going to tightline my top waterline. And then with my teeny tiny reference number 23 brush, I'm just going to smudge a little bit really close to my lash line, underneath and on top. I'm going to flick it out a little bit. You guys will see why later. And now I'm going to begin with this palette, and I have my reference number 15, and I'm going to grab the Prime shade. And of course, I'm going to be blending this one on my eyelid, back and forth with my reference number 15 brush. Same brush, and I'm grabbing the color Enhance. And this is the color for the crease of our eyes, so I'm just going to back and forth blend it on the crease. Just doing windshield wiper motions with my reference number 15. I'm switching to my reference number 1, and I'm going to grab the color Smoke right here. And this is the color for the outer V of the eye, so I'm just smoking it out on that outer V right there, just intensifying things a little bit. I have my reference number 13 brush, and I'm going to get the color Define right here. And I'm just going to start defining my eyelid with it. This color just makes things even smokier. And I'm going to start using it as like a smoky liner. I know it looks like very weird at the moment, but it'll get better. Back with my number 23 brush, a little bit more of that color. I'm defining things a little further on my eyelid. And from the bottom, I'm going to start extending it upwards. Now comes the most important part, which is cleaning underneath. And I'm just going to hold at an angle and sweep up. And I have a little bit of makeup remover on my paper towel. Okay, I switched to a cotton and some makeup remover. And this is what we are looking like so far. Let me go ahead and do my face makeup and I'll be back to finish it up. I'm back with makeup on and I have my number 13 brush here from Refer, and I'm going to grab the color Define and I'm going to further intensify my under eye a little bit more and all the way back here. And now with the color Enhance, I'm going to go over and soften things a little more. This is going to bring a little bit of peachiness to the under eye, the same way we do have it on top. This is the finished eye look. Let's go ahead and put on some mascara and show you what that looks like. I'm back and I put on some mascara. This is the Legendary Lashes by Charlotte Tilbury mascara. And this is the look that I created with the Diva Lights Palette. Undoubtedly another very sparkly look. The only shade in this one that is not overly sparkle is the Define shade, which is the one that I have on as eyeliner. Everything else is pretty shiny. Alright, so now let me give you my final thoughts. Okay, I'm back and I really hope that you guys enjoyed both eye looks. I did something a little bit different with this one. I barely ever do any type of winged look on my channel because I don't think that they're the most flattering on my eye shape, but I wanted to switch it up for you guys today. Anyways, let's get into my thoughts, my final opinions on these two new quads. I think the formulas on these are actually quite nice. They blend out amazingly. They're very smooth, very easy to build up, very easy to blend into one another. I'll say they're not the richest, most pigmented formulas that Charlotte has. These are kind of just meant to be a little bit more sheer, a little bit more subtle. And I definitely would personally love, this is just personal preference, a matte shade in the palettes because I'm not a huge fan of having shimmer all over the eye myself. I totally think that it works. Like, I really liked both of the looks that I came up with, but I don't know, that's just kind of like my personal preference. I always like to go in with at least one matte shade. So I don't think that these are absolute needs for anyone. I think if this is the type of makeup you like to do, the type of looks that you want to go for, if you're someone who likes light shimmery looks that bring a lot of light to your eye, I think you would probably really like these palettes. But other than that, I don't think that these are like my new favorite Charlotte Tilbury quad by all means. I think that Charlotte has other quads in her collection that I would totally prefer and grab over these. My favorites are the Exaggerized quad, the Pillow Talk quad, and the Fire Rose quad, which has actually been discontinued, and I'm really hoping she brings it back, but I think I have now heard from everyone everywhere that that might not be happening. But I feel like Charlotte always brings things back, so I'm still being hopeful. I feel like probably in the future, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, the Fire Rose palette will come back. But Exaggerize, before the Fire Rose quad ever came out, Exaggerize was my favorite Charlotte quad. I absolutely love that one and the looks that I can create with it. That one definitely has like a nice little matte shade in there, and that's just, again, personal preference, the thing that I love most. Out of these two, I think I would pick the Star Aura palette. It's a little bit more basic than the Diva Lights palette, but I think I think I would see myself getting more use out of this one than this one because, again, me with like a winged owl look, smoky type of situation is an exception to like what I do on a regular basis. So I feel like I wouldn't reach for this one as much myself. If I were to pick one, I would do the Star Aura palette. I really have to learn the names of these because I have to look at them every time. Anyways, so that is my opinion. They're not bad, they're just not something that like overwhelms me with excitement per se. But I still like to review and think about palettes from not my point of view because not everybody has the makeup collection that I have. and I know that I could have colors that are very similar to these in a lot of my palettes, but you might be a beginner, you might have just a few palettes that you are choosing from at the moment. You might be someone who likes to just have a few things that you absolutely love, and these might be the colors that you are going for at the moment. And so again, these are nothing that overwhelm me with excitement. They are really nice palettes, and you just have to look at your makeup collection and make a decision for yourself of whether you want to pick them up or not. That is it for this video. I truly hope that you guys liked it. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up before you leave. Again, I will have the places where these palettes are being sold at the moment linked down below in the description box because they have not come out everywhere yet. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I love you all so much. Don't forget to please subscribe before you leave, and I hope you come back for the next video. Bye.